Hi, I'm Amber of the Little Reister House, where we celebrate the little things that make our house our home. Today I'm going to bring you along on a project that is long overdue in our house. We are coming up on the 2-year anniversary of moving into our home, and I'm so embarrassed to say that we still have moving boxes sitting in the corner of our master bathroom. This space has not been a priority, to say the least, but I realize that just because we're not ready to spend the money in updating this space doesn't mean that we can't find ways to love it in the in-between. Today I'm going to attempt to bring a little bit of life back to this space using $0, items I already have, some DIY, and a little old-fashioned elbow grease. Now let's get started. Let me show you what I'm working with. Our master bathroom is actually a converted bedroom, which means it's fairly spacious. We have the hookups for laundry, but the old machines that were here burnt out shortly after we moved in, and it just hasn't been a priority to replace them yet. Originally, this room was painted periwinkle blue, but my uncle was generous enough to paint it in Benjamin Moore's Swiss coffee for us before we moved in. We replaced the dated wall sconce, but other than that, nothing has been touched or added. I get to start with a fairly blank slate, and I'm thankful this room has pretty good bones. Sure, not every finish is what I would choose if I were designing the bathroom myself, but for now it is generally clean and totally workable. Here's what I'm thinking. We have a lot of wasted space in the center of the room and beside the toilet, and very limited storage in here. I'd like to add some sort of shelf that can hold spare towels, our medicine, and other bathroom essentials like extra toilet paper. I'd love to add a fairly large rug to the floor to ground the empty space in the middle and add some much needed style. Otherwise, I think there are a few extra touches I can add to bring some life to the room using decor pieces I already have and a little DIY effort. But the first step is to give this space a really good deep clean. I'm going to scrub all the things: toilet, sinks, countertops, mirrors, shower, and even the baseboards. Not to mention, finally go through the leftover moving boxes. With the cleaning done, I decided to move a tall and skinny glass IKEA shelving unit I previously had in our cozy room to fill the space beside the toilet. I needed to remove the old towel bar and patch the walls before I could move it in. I simply filled the holes and used spare paint to hide where they used to be. I moved the shelf in and played with the configuration until it felt right. Next, it was time to source my home and see what kind of decor pieces I could use in here to bring in the function and style I was after. Okay, I found a couple treasures that could work, maybe if I mix and match. So obviously this is a cute little copper planter. I thrifted this years ago. Otherwise, I found these. I really want to add some plants to the top of that shelf. There's very few places in my house I can have real plants because I have cats. And so I could potentially use some of these pots. Especially this is one of my oldest favorite ones. I got this when we first got married, and I've used it many places, but it's just kind of like a rosy gold copper pot. This is a wooden tray, which is really cute. I have this basket. I want to create a lid. So I'm wondering if I can make something out of wood that maybe just sits on top. So yeah, there's some potential there. I found this, I did this drawing, I think I was maybe in grade 10 or something. I think this will be a good size frame, and I want to add some black into that corner. So I think that this will work for some sort of artwork. I couldn't find any artwork that I already have that I like for the space, but I can just DIY something or come up with something. Let's get to it. A major functional component I wanted to address was our lack of medicine storage. We have a toddler, so it's important to me that we get our medications up high and out of sight. I found a woven basket that would fit perfectly on the shelf, but I wanted to create some sort of lid so I could hide the contents. I measured the dimensions of the basket and cut 2 rectangles out of some spare 3/4 inch plywood, one the approximate size of the basket top and the second just slightly smaller. I sanded the edges of the plywood and then used wood glue and brad nails to adhere them together. I painted the lid piece in some spare paint, raw silk by Fusion Minerals.
The idea with the simple design would be that the smaller piece attached to the bottom of the larger one would fit inside the basket to keep the lid in place. This worked perfectly to hide our medications, and I feel so much better that they will be out of reach of our daughter. As you saw, I found a few other really great pieces in my basement as well. I laid out my jewelry on a simple organic wooden tray and added a low-maintenance plant to a really cute cement pot. Plants are a fantastic way to literally bring some life to a space, and they usually do well in a damp bathroom that has some sunlight. I used some matte spray paint that I already had to freshen up the hardware. Spray paint works really well as long as you do multiple light coats and give it ample time to fully cure. As you know, my goal was to not spend any money on this makeover, but there were two places that I did end up shelling out a little bit of cash. The configuration of our bathroom just leaves a very big empty space in the middle, so placing a properly sized rug in the center of this space was a really great way to make it feel warmer, more balanced, and way more inviting. I purchased one of the Chris Loves Julia by Leloy rugs in the 3x5 foot size, and it brings just enough texture and warmth to this otherwise cold and empty room. The second place I unexpectedly spent money was on 2 matching mirrors for the vanity. I didn't plan to replace our mirrors, but I did come across a perfect pair of matching mirrors at a local HomeSense store for $30 a piece, which in the world of mirrors is a steal of a deal. I just couldn't pass it up. I wanted to eventually replace these mirrors, so I just had to jump on this budget-friendly opportunity when I could, especially with the ever-changing stock at HomeSense. The mirrors were the exact same size and style, but had 2 different finishes, so I painted them in some spare black paint I had on hand just to ensure that they matched perfectly before hanging them up. I filled the shelf unit with the various items I had collected, and the space was really starting to come together. However, it was missing one thing: some artwork. I wanted to add a frame above the toilet to visually balance the height of the neighboring shelf, and I decided to use a black frame to offset the black finishes of the mirrors on the opposite wall. I created a DIY art piece with acrylic paints using colors that connected to the rug, and really just went with it. I shared the full process on my Instagram, which I will link below if you want to follow along there. If you want to know more about that process, you can find it in one of my saved highlights. With the artwork framed, I hung it up above the toilet, and that pretty well wraps up this mini budget-friendly makeover. So let me just remind you what this space looked like before we started. And let's see it now. I did end up spending a bit of money to spruce up this space, but I definitely didn't have to do that. There are a lot of ways you can use decor items you already have, or get creative with leftover project materials to bring some much needed life to a tired space. I hope this video inspired you to see that the little things, no matter the cost, can make a big impact in your space and in your home. I really hope you enjoyed joining me on that process. If you liked this video, make sure you like it, and just know that every like, comment, and share goes a really long way in supporting us on our YouTube journey. You can also follow along with us on Instagram or our blog. I will link both below in the description, or you can hit that subscribe button right here on YouTube. We really appreciate you guys and hope that you remember that the best things in life are often the little things, like finding a way to bring a little bit of life back to a drab and tired space. Bye, friends.